What are you
But
thinking at this time? What's going through your head? Like, are you questioning yourself? Like, why do you keep, you know, doing this fight?
no, I kept thinking I must be very close. I must be right there
Why?
because it got so ridiculous. It was just so absurd. The previous superintendent of state police was Travis Hampton, and I had tried and tried to talk to him, and I ended up writing uh, a 15-page request for public records. And obviously, not all of that was the request. My background. I said, "This is the background," and I took him through logically from the Constitution and the Act of Congress admitting Oregon to the Union and all of that through the statutory authority to stop people for a traffic ticket, which is 153.039, which we already talked about. And I said, what's your other authority? Send me a copy of whatever authorizes you to stop the general public. And then he quit. Terry Davies, the gal that arrested me on the sidewalk near the state capitol, took his position. I think I should do more with that 15-page document. I wrote it explicitly for the people to look at, people who had been raised believing that they needed to have a driver license. Everything was put in the most elementary language I could come up with, you know. I want to send it to Terry Davies, and ask her for, can I have a copy of the arrest record, when you arrested me for trespassing on the sidewalk? Because I want to review your probable cause. She's never been able to explain that. And I was in jail and soon after I got to jail, no arraignment, went to the state hospital again. I was there for,
Again, a second time.
yeah, I was there most of the 50 days. I think it was 38 or something like that.
And what happened in the hospital the second time? Were they still trying to put drugs in you?
No, they didn't try that again. They did. That was so embarrassing to them to have the governor's story put on the record. They knew that they couldn't do that.
What do they do when you're sitting in a hospital? You have like numerous interviews with several doctors, or you just sit in a hospital? What's the point of that?
Pretty much sit in the hospital, and they scheduled an evaluation to see if I was able to aid and assist in my own defense. And again, I didn't have an attorney to assist, so it was all bogus. Even the pretext was a bogus pretext. It wasn't even a pretext. And then they threw me out.
And that was trespassing on a sidewalk in front of the Capitol.
Uh-huh.
And that's on the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I could write to her and say, can I have a copy of the arrest report? And that would be the second question. Can I have that public record?
And this is in 2012? When is this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
September 4th, 2012. Just a few months after May, June, July, August. 3 or 4 months after I got out of the state hospital the first time.
And they just release you from the front doors at the hospital? You just walk out of the hospital, or do you go back to the jail?
No, I also had warrants from Clackamas County and Multnomah County, so they sent me around, and nothing happened at those two counties either. They
what did they claim those warrants were for?
Telephonically harassing county officials.
Okay, so you're arrested for trespassing on a sidewalk, sent to a hospital. And then from there, they said, "Oh, by the way, you've got these
No,
warrants."
no. The first time I was at the state hospital, I didn't just get released from the hospital. I got released from Multnomah County.
Okay, so the first time, what year was that? 2011.
2012.
2011
Well, I got
was the
arrested in
hearing.
2011. Yeah.
Okay,
And I
and
was
so
in there through 2012.
and they, so the first time you were in the hospital, instead of just releasing you, they said, "Oh, by the way, you've got these warrants," and shipped you off.
So we're gonna send you to Clackamas County first, and then Clackamas County couldn't do anything with it, didn't want to do anything with it.
So you're sitting in the jail and you don't go to court.
And they sent me to Multnomah County, and I went to several courts. I mean,
Hearings.
not even hearings. I told one judge, the presiding court judge, again, presiding court judge, what was her name? The same, she and her husband were, one of them was the Clackamas County presiding judge, and she was the presiding judge in Multnomah County. That's kind of interesting, huh? I told her, I have called you a criminal, and I know that you cannot be fair to me because of that.
You were telling her that.
Yeah, so you cannot preside over any proceeding.
She had a conflict of interest.
Yeah, you have a conflict of interest. So I went back to jail, and they were trying to stick an attorney on me. And I said, you cannot do anything. You cannot have a proceeding because you're... And eventually I did get an attorney who helped me get out of Clackamas.
Who were the alleged victims of these harassments? More government officials.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know,
I don't even remember them.
Did you know about these warrants when you were in the hospital the first time? Did you know about these warrants, or did they just, you call somebody and then they call somebody and say, "Hey, we need some warrants on this guy because he keeps calling us"? Like,
I don't remember how that happened.
So you're in the hospital for a few hundred days.
4.5 months at the state hospital.
Oh, the first time.
Mm-hmm, the first time.
And then from there, you're going to these county jails, and they're trying to figure out what to do with you.
Until they decided not to do anything.
Nothing.
And then they threw me out. Mm-hmm.
How long were you in the jails, the two jails between those two counties? Do you know how many days about?
Short time in Clackamas, and a few days, and then some weeks, maybe a month in Multnomah County.
This has got to be like, it's got to, like, they're breaking the law.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's got to be.
And every time I went out of my jail cell to go to in front of a different judge, I knew it was another bogus attempt, and it would be against the law. And I kept saying, I can accept an attorney as long as I get to make sure that they're compatible with me. I said, can I ask this guy that you're going to appoint a few questions? And I even asked in front of the judge, can I ask him right here? I said, do you know what happens to the money you make being a court-appointed attorney? Do you take that home and to your firm? And he didn't know. I said, if he doesn't even know what he's doing with the money that he earns, how can he help me?
What was the point of you asking him that question?
To show how stupid the attorney was.
Public defenders.
Yeah, a public defender. And so
I went
back to jail.
What did the judge say? Is that the judge was okay with your argument? And
there was no argument. It was just obvious that the attorney didn't know what he was doing.
And it was that ridiculous that the
Yeah,
judge didn't even say too bad or anything like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes the judge will argue and be like, he's your attorney. Sometimes they'll force him on people.
No, he couldn't.
He didn't do that.
No.
And so you went back to your cell, and what had
and
to
then
go?
they eventually just let me out, and I walked out. No, that was another time. I was going to say I walked out holding my pants up because I lost so much weight, but that was another time.
What are you thinking at this time? What's going through your head? Like, are you questioning yourself? Like, why do you keep, doing this fight?
No, well, I kept thinking I must be very close. I must be right there.
Why?
Because it got so ridiculous. It was just so absurd.
And if it was moral and just and right, then somebody would just sit down and explain it to you. But since it seemed so criminal, you kept pushing. Even the amount of times that you were arrested, and I don't know the total of days of your life was taken away from you from being arrested and incarcerated, whether it was in a jail or in a hospital.
I don't either.
I mean, but you didn't care about yourself. You didn't say, okay, I'm tired of these people hurting me. I'm out of here.
Well, there has been my motives have changed. At this point, I just want to get out of it. I just want to stop playing this stupid game.
Today,
yeah, at this point. And up until recently, I was in it for revenge. And now I don't even need to take Brown down, the governor down. I just want out. I want out with enough money to not have to worry about anything in the future. And
you want to be able to sue these people or get some kind of compensation for all the damages that they've done.
Yeah, it's an organized crime ring. So each and everything is part of the whole. And the organized crime ring is racketeering, and racketeering is more than one crime with a common nexus, and the common nexus is the driver license thing, and it occurs over a period in excess of 5 years, and it's a Class A felony. It's the one where someone convicted of racketeering goes to prison for 20 years. So I have been pushing for that. Oh, that reminds me. Kate Brown's second attorney on the stalking order case was the Attorney General. Did I say that?
Go ahead and talk about that. This is in what year?
In 2009, I went back to court trying to get rid of it again, and they sent a gal named Summer Gleason from the Attorney General, and she was former district attorney in Clackamas County. And I told her, I said, do you know what you're getting into? I talked to her on the phone. I said, do you know what you're getting into? And she didn't. And I said, well, I think we should meet before we go see the judge. And so she didn't make it. We got to the courthouse. She got there late, and we didn't have a chance to sit down before. She talked to the judge, said, I want to set over so I can figure out what I'm doing on this case. And I said, excuse me, Judge, before you grant her motion for a set over, you have to ask her, are you authorized to make this motion? And he says, are you authorized to make this motion? And she swallowed hard, and she said, yes.